How'd you feel about the first live?
Yeah, no, it was fun. Just want to get out there. Face some of the big leaguers. Just kind of go out there and just do my thing. Just go there with a good mindset. Whatever happens, happens.
Do you expect to have to work on your fielding that quickly?
No, I mean that one scared me. I'm actually surprised I caught it, to be honest. But no, that was kind of, maybe wake up there. Yeah.
Called it pretty quick right after that. Were you supposed to face another batter, or?
No, that was he was my last guy. Yeah.
You looked a little surprised that you caught it.
Yeah. To be honest, it hit my glove, and I thought it just kept going. And I looked, and I was like, oh, I caught it. But yeah, no, it woke me up for sure.
This early in camp, what's kind of the main focus for you?
Yeah, come out here, get my work in. But most importantly, just have fun with it. Stay healthy, and pick these, these guys' brains, about, their daily routines, what they do, to stay locked in, and, how they go about, their bullpens or their outings, or or even just like their simple throwing for that day. Kind of just see what they do on a daily basis.
How did you feel about your year last year in the minors?
Yeah, I thought it was, pretty solid. It was a fun year. High A was good, Double A was good. Obviously, it's no surprise. Struggled a little bit in Triple A. I think for me, I kind of got away from, who I am up there. And that's, attacking no matter what. Not worrying about results. She kind of got away from that a little bit. It was a learning curve. You learn from it. You move on. So.
Why did you get away from that?
Nerves kind of kicked in. A little bit of a bigger stage, and obviously, there's going to be a little bit of a bigger stage in the big leagues. But I kind of, after the year was done, I looked back on, and I realized, my faults there, and what I needed to work on, and that's, having a better mindset going into it, a little bit better process, going into that as well. So, looking back on it now, like I said, you live and you learn, and then you move on with it.
Did the ABS system have anything to do with that, or the challenge system?
No, that's, to be honest, we don't even really, pay attention to that, if a hitter, challenges, it goes their way, congrats, move on to the next pitch, it's baseball.
What did you work on this offseason?
Yeah, just, trying to get stronger, work on that, physically, and then the mental game, continue to work on that with my mental coach, and then just start lines, of, off-speed pitches, the change-up, start line, and then working on the new sinker that I've incorporated. So, kind of those two main things, have been, big factors for me to work on. But, yeah.
You talked about maybe the pressure heightening a little bit when you get to AAA, you get that close. When you start to see your name pop up as the number one prospect in the organization, or a top whatever prospect in baseball, do you try to ignore that? How do you take that, just in terms of I'm sure you appreciate it, but kind of shoving it aside?
Yeah, of course, you see it. There is no ignoring it. But that was last year. It's a new year this year. Whatever happens last year, that's in the past. I can't, take that over to this year. It's only going to hurt me. Obviously, sure, it's nice to see it, but I don't pay attention to it much. I kind of, just come in every day, get my work done, and do what I need to do, and head back home, and just kind of chill, and think about tomorrow. So.
How much are you using, maybe as a carrot, the possibility of helping this team this year, the Mets?
Yeah, my goal, is just come in every single day, and learn from these guys. These guys are here for a reason. These older guys, like I said, it kind of goes back to, picking their brain, see what they do best, and sometimes, what they're also working on, and learn from them. The more I can learn, from them, and the more I can learn about myself, the more I can help this team. So yeah, I look forward to, coming here every single day and just working and getting better, and getting to know these guys and these coaches.
I know it's early in camp, but is there a veteran you've talked to the most at this point?
Talked to Holmes a little bit, just because he's one of the first ones I met. Manaea came up to me and introduced himself today, so that was cool. I've known Beatty from AAA. see Scott. You know, I've known him since college. You know, he's a big one for me to lean on. You know, because I've known him the longest. You know, we have a good connection. But, you know, I look forward to meeting more of the guys as camp goes on.
What's the best piece of advice you've gotten so far?
That, you know, obviously there's the highs and the lows, but, you know, just keep going forward. You know, just keep doing the next best thing. You know, you're gonna have tough days. You know, like I say, you gotta learn from those. You know, you just gotta keep showing up. That's the biggest thing, is just keep showing up, keep working. You know, eventually things are gonna go your way.
You threw a 2-strike changeup to Brett that really kind of elicited a reaction from him.
Yeah.
What's it like seeing kind of that kind of go into practice and kind of get the result that you intended?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the lives are fun because, you know, pitchers help hitters, hitters help pitchers. You know, seeing that reaction, you know, sure, you know, it's nice, you know, and then, you know, him telling me, you know, what he saw, you know, so that dialogue and that communication right there, you know, it really, you know, helps each other. That's why, you know, lives are nice, because, you know, you help each other out with those. You know, it's a battle in the box, but, you know, after it's like, hey, what'd you see, or hey, what'd you see, you know, why this pitch or why that pitch, or hey, you know, what were you thinking in the box? So yeah.
You mentioned the sinker being new. How new is it?
So I think I started throwing it like second to third last outing last year.
Okay. Very new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's really just been starting to get worked on, you know, this off season. But, you know, it, you know, went my way today with throwing it. But yeah, no, I think it's coming along, you know, pretty good.
Where'd you get the grip from?
Do what?
Where'd you get the grip for it from?
Crawford, pitching coach last year. You know, we kind of worked with it, you know, a little bit, and then we finally found, you know, a good spot for it. So.
What do you hope that pitch does for you, and how do you want to use it?
Yeah, you know, obviously, you know, running into righties, you know, kind of get off the four seam a little bit, you know, and then make the four seam, you know, look like it rides a little more. But yeah, I think it's, you know, a good weapon for me, you know, all around. So yeah.
Is the mustache new too?
Yeah, it is. You know, to be honest, I've never been able to grow facial hair until, you know, I tried, you know, this off season. You know, me and one of my buddies were like, hey, you know, let's try it for the off season, you know. And, you know, I guess it turned out pretty well. And we actually both still have it to this day. So it was kind of, you know, just a little fun thing to do.
Is he a ball player too?
Yeah, he's with the Braves. It's a Hurston Waldrop.
Okay.
But yeah, so we were at Florida, you know, with each other. But yeah, we were saying, you know what, why not?
You gonna get Christian to grow one too?
I might try to get him to grow one. see if he'll do it with me.
You're pretty much known for your fastball, but how do you feel your secondary pitches are kind of coming along at this point?
Yeah, you know, they're always, you know, a work in progress. You know, the fastball's always a work in progress. You know, there's never, you know, one pitch that's set in stone. You know, you're always working on those things. But, you know, like I said, you know, the start line of the changeup, you know, that's a work in progress. You know, the two seam, the start line of it, that's a work in progress. But yeah, you know, the off speed, you know, it's all a work in progress. You know, landing it for strikes. You know, different start lines. You know, for different hitters. You know, you're working on them day in and day out. You know, there is never a set in stone or, oh, hey, I figured it out, because, you know, you never really did. So.
In your live today, how hard was the four seam and how hard was the sinker?
I have no idea. I didn't ask, so I couldn't really tell you on that.
And what's behind that approach or philosophy?
I just didn't get a chance to look at the numbers yet. Yeah, so I mean, I'll probably look at them later tonight. Watch some video. So.